Bang, bang. Hey guys, how's it going? It is Maniac Monday. I'm Matt, and I got another fantastic film for you today. Today's is a absolute classic. It is a must-see for every horror fan, and a lot of film connoisseurs should see this just because it is such an important film. As a matter of fact, I even wrote something down in my notes. It was one of the first films added to the National Film Registry for Congress, which is really cool. Um, there's a lot of other films that have been added along the way, which are considered historic value. I know that the original Edison Frankenstein is a part of that. I imagine probably Birth of a Nation is in there. I know that they do have the rights to The Day the Clown Cried, the Jerry Lewis film where he plays a clown who lures children into a he's basically forced to lure children into the gas chambers. As this is set during World War II, so it's a very disturbed film. Allegedly, only 11 people in the world have ever seen it. Um, Hopefully, someday in our life that it will get released because I want to see it desperately. I want to know what all happened, what all transpired to make the man completely hide this film. One of those type things. Because yeah, it was buried completely. um, Speaking of buried, the poor director of this one, he got basically buried in finance over this one. He got screwed and didn't receive really anything. I know that he received some money here and there along the way through this release. I know he got some money. There was an old Anchor Bay VHS that I think I still have somewhere kicking around the house that I know he received some money for, which I need to find another copy of that one. That one's weird. It's got some added footage to it that they refilmed and cut into it, which is really bizarre, where they explain the first zombie, Bill Hinzman's character, by the fact that he was a criminal that was executed, and one of those things. And there's a whole thing with a priest that he gets, like, I want to say he gets bit in the face or something like that, and they end it, or they have him come back at the end, and he's still alive, and he's preaching the gospel about the zombies and this and that, and weird stuff. A few other things sprinkled throughout the film that were new for that. They um, purposely degraded the film, shot it in black and white. I'm guessing they probably just shot it in regular color and then took the color out of it while in the editing process, if that's even possible. I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker. I would like to be someday. I don't. I doing what? I'm not sure. I think it'd be funner being in front of the camera. I know I'm not no actor, but I would have a fun time. Speaking of fun times, back to today's movie. It's from 1968. Stars Duane Jones, Judith O'Day, Karl Hardman, I forgot about him, Marilyn, Eastman, Keith Wayne, Judith O'Reilly, Kyra, Schon, and the great Bill Hinzman. Rest in peace to I think almost all of those characters are now deceased. I know Duane Jones is, Karl Hardman is, I'm pretty sure Marilyn Eastman is, I know Bill Hinzman is. There's maybe the two younger characters that they might be alive. But this is Night of the Living Dead. Yeah, this is the old Elite Millennium Edition that they released years and years ago. I do need to upgrade to that sweet Criterion copy because that thing is just top notch. My only complaint about it is I wish they would have released it when the man was still alive. It seems to always happen after a filmmaker or a musician some sort of artist dies, there becomes an influx of their product, which some of it was already pre-planned, and then some of it they just shot out as quick as they could be, like they did with this, which really upset me. Why couldn't we do that while this man was alive and make him some money off of it? Because the poor bastard, his producers, he originally had it called Night of the Flesh Eater. And his producers come along and change the name last minute. It's trademarked under Night of the Flesh Eater, not under Night of the Living Dead. And so, as it goes into the theater with an untrademarked name and film, it automatically became public domain. Biggest mistake a filmmaker could do. Every filmmaker in history afterwards has learned from it. Poor George did. The poor man lost rights to his baby, and I can understand if he was a bitter soul along the way, because that really would have upset me, because that was his. I still feel it's his greatest film, just because it's one that everybody, that even non-horror fans, have seen this. This is a legend. This is a classic. This is a fantastic film. What's it about? If you don't know what it's already about, it's about this brother and sister who, it starts off with them driving down the road, and they're going to visit their dead mother in the cemetery, leave some flowers, all that jazz. And so they're there, and they're getting ready to leave. The brother's Johnny's kind of a dick, he's messing with the Barbara, doing the classic, "They're coming for you, Barbara. They're coming to get you, Barbara." That whole thing, "There's one of them now. Here he comes." One of those things, and lo and behold, the person that's coming along is the very first flesh-eating zombie ever, so they say, to appear on screen, and that is none other than Mr. First Zombie, Bill Hinzman, which the man made a career off of that. And the guy was he did other things amongst film. I want to say he did director of photography, did some writing. I know that he did a few other films that were notable amongst the schlock fest of the horror community, because he did Flesh Eater, which was a unofficial sequel to this, where he plays the same character. And then there's the Majorettes, which I've only seen once, and I barely remember anything. I was so intoxicated that, I'm surprised I remember the title. So you got them two going along. Johnny dies by the zombie. She's escaping. The zombie's following her. She gets to this abandoned old farmhouse, which is clearly not abandoned. This old farmhouse that's being lived in. And she is greeted with another zombie, two zombies eventually. But she's greeted by Duane Jones, who Benjamin is his name, and Benjamin is your main character. He's your hero. He's your powerhouse to this film. He's the leader, and he helps her. And then they find out that there's a group of folks down in the basement. Two different couples, and then one of the couples has a child, and the child is injured and has been bitten by the zombies. So you got this whole scenario going on while everything's going on outside. They board up the houses. The house, it was basically boarded all up by Ben previously, and so you got the two couples. Karl Hardman's character is such a dick. He doesn't want anything to do with it. You can tell there's racial tension between them, because this is you know, this is 1968. There's still a lot of racial tension going on, and it went on for another 30 years. Crazy to think that people still try to make things racially tension, like have racial tension nowadays, when sometimes there isn't. Where sometimes it isn't even there, man. Sometimes I feel like people are grasping for straws, you know, but we're not getting into that. That's not my thing. I'm here to talk about the original classic of Night of the Living Dead. Yes. As far as ratings go on a 1 through 5 for the technical side, it's done rather well. I would say it's probably a 3. It's not anything above average. It's executed nothing too crazy for as far as camera angles. Um, it is shot well. It's not and they're not inept filmmakers. And then as far as entertainment goes, on the 1 through 5, I'm gonna give it a solid 5. Uh, I don't give out 5s too often, but this is one of them that deserves it, and it will constantly stay in my heart. This is one that ever since I was like probably 8 or 9 years old, 10, 11, 13, around anywhere from 8 to 13, I can't remember exactly, I've owned a copy of this in one way, shape, or form. So that, you know, I've seen it probably 40 times, 30 times. I don't know. I could do it word for word if I had to, and I'm not going to. I'm going to spare you guys of that. All right, y'all. I have blabbered on long enough. We're rolling on into 12 minutes range. I have a fantastic one for you tomorrow. Um, Holy shit is all I can say. I didn't realize how good this one is for tomorrow. All right, y'all. Love your faces. Peace. La, 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 la.